Hey everybody, how you doing today? Uh, I just kind of figured I'll go live for a little bit as I'm working on my book. I'm on chapter 15 currently. I've got almost 2.5 pages of chapter 15 written. I'm at 119 pages, 36,719 words. So it's kind of fun. I'm getting ready to do a little bit of review on what I've written in chapter 15 already. I want to see how it's flowing. This chapter here is going to be mainly focused on running buffalo and standing wolf. Um, they're both Lakota warriors. Um, so we'll see how it goes. And like I always tell you when I'm doing a live on my book works and book edits, got any questions about the chapter, the book, characters, feel free to ask. I have no issue with telling you. So with that being said, oh, and a reminder, there will be a campfire chats with Eric and guests Saturday, but there will be not be the Bizarre and the Unknown channel or show Sunday because of the Super Bowl. Gonna be spending some time with the family. I'm getting stuff now. I forgot to pick up a couple things while I was at the store earlier, so now I gotta go back to the store get some more stuff. But it's gonna be a fun little shindig. So, but the following Sunday there will be a show with Jesus Payon, and we're going to pick up where we left off a couple weeks ago. So I hope you guys enjoy it. That being said, let's jump into here and see how she sounds. Maybe. Come on, start working.
Chapter 15, Hurry and Honor. You know the trait of a crocodile, don't you? It never hunts. By Emerson.
I already noticed a issue. Let me get that fixed. That's why I love going through and doing this and hearing it reading out to me, because I get to capture things that I may have missed.
Chapter 15, Prey and Honor. You know the trait of a crocodile, don't you? It never hunts outside water. It always goes into the water to catch its prey. It never goes in the villages or in the bush looking for food. It strikes at the appropriate time. So, a good guerrilla leader strikes at the appropriate time. By Emerson Mnangagwa. Running Buffalo watched his prey. He slowly made his way behind the werewolf. He studied the muscle movement that was made with every step. He slowly crawled his way under the bushes and now was directly behind the werewolf.
Already noticed another issue. That should sound better.
He studied the muscle movement that was made with every step that he made. He slowly crawled his way under the bushes and now was directly behind the werewolf. He pulled his knife and cut some fur from the werewolf. He was not noticed and slid back into the bushes. He wanted to yell out his victory. He had counted coup on a very mighty enemy and not been caught. This was a great honor for him. He was stoked to the max for accomplishing this feat of courage and skill. His heart felt like it was pounding out of his chest. Now he needed to plan his next move. The wolf turned in his direction. Running Buffalo slowly sank into the shadows and bushes. The wolf sniffed the air but did not see Running Buffalo. Shit, it has my scent, Running Buffalo said in his head. He needed to mask his scent if he wanted to have an advantage in this fight. He looked around and found what the Germans called a linden tree, the Americans called it basswood, and the Brits called it a lime tree. It was very good for hiding scent and was very pleasing. The Germans revered the linden tree. It was a representation of Freya, the goddess of love and luck. He needed luck in this fight, so this choice was a win-win for him. He slowly made his way over to the tree and took some leaves. He rubbed them all over his body and stuffed some in his uniform. He then took out some naturally made paint and applied his war paint to his face and body. He removed his jacket and shirt. Running Buffalo was very muscular, and there was not a lot of fat on him. He painted his chest and rolled his back in some mud. Camouflaged, painted, and his scent now hidden, he was ready for the fight. He removed his cover and pulled the rope that had his hair tied up in a ponytail. His long black hair fell over his shoulders and down his back. He was going to fight this mighty beast as a Lakota warrior. If he is to fall, then he will fall as his ancestors had. Running Buffalo had a slight grin on his face now. He quietly made his way back to the wolf. He made his way behind him and smiled. He slowly pulled out his knife. He tapped the wolf on the shoulder. It quickly turned and was surprised to see this strangely painted man standing before him. That moment of hesitation allowed Running Buffalo to quickly run his knife blade across the chest of the wolf. His knife was sharp, and it cut deeply, all the way to the bone. Running Buffalo darted back into the bushes and disappeared from sight. Blood flowed from the cut, and the wolf had not realized what had happened yet. It slowly looked down and saw the cut and the warm, wet, sticky blood pour out of the cut. It placed a raccoon-like hand on the cut. When it touched the cut, the pain set in, and it howled out its agony. The realization had set in, and it knew it was in a fight now. Standing Wolf was just outside of the camp waiting for his friend and brother to return. He quickly stood to his feet as he heard the howl of pain ring out from a distance. He removed his jacket and shirt. He dropped his gear and pulled out his paint. He painted his body, and he had Asney paint his back. Mundy walked up to him. He said nothing. He only handed Standing Wolf his knife and tomahawk. Standing Wolf nodded and ran into the darkness. He would go to the aid of his friend, and Mundy knew there was no stopping it. Standing Wolf ran through the trees and towards the location of the howl. Meanwhile, back at the cave of the werewolves, Baldo heard the painful howl from his brother. He removed his clothes and transformed. He got to all fours and darted off to the aid of his brother. He was not far from him and would be there in moments. Running Buffalo made his way through the bushes, and the wolf was looking around for him. He pulled out his tomahawk and circled around his target.
That's how much I've got written in chapter 15 already. I kind of wanted to hear how it flowed because I'm getting this chapter set up between a big fight scene between Running Buffalo, Standing Wolf, and two of the werewolves. So this started in, how it got up to here is they've already killed one part of the wolf pack, part that stayed behind. Mundy and the Varangain Guard annihilated them. Well, they started their hunt of the two remaining groups because they had split up into three groups after Mundy had killed Emil. So they caught up to one group, and they're in a cave, and so Running Buffalo was sent to scout and spy on them to see what's happening, see where they're heading, make sure they haven't joined up with the other group that had left prior to all this happening. And so while he was spying on the cave, a werewolf had snuck up, and he didn't see it. So he decides, hey, man, if this guy wants to do this, I can do it too, but I'm going to whoop his butt, basically. So that's what we're leading up to. So, Captain Coup, it's a lot. That's a very high honor amongst a lot of Native Americans. So the fact that he was able to sneak up behind that werewolf, cut a hunk of that fur, and disappear without being caught, that was Captain Coup. I mean, it's an incredible thing that he was able to do. So I had to add that in there for that factor there. And so, I mean, it's kind of fun. So now I'm getting set up where we're getting a little bit more into the intense fighting. It's going to be solely for the first part focused on Running Buffalo and the one werewolf. And then we're slowly going to work the other werewolf and Standing Wolf into it. So that's kind of where I'm at on this. Anybody knows anything about Native Americans, how they fought? They're sneaky. They was able to get up on you without you knowing. That's kind of where That's why I'm adding that style into this chapter. So, you guys got any questions about this one here? And to give you kind of an update on the Varangian Guard, uh, this book takes place during World War II. And what am I doing wrong? Oh, there it is. I got that fixed. Sorry, I had to edit real quick. And it's on the concept of Hitler and Himmler's German werewolves and the fact that they were actually werewolves. So that's what the basis of this book is based on. Is the World War II German werewolves. So this book is a prequel to the saga of Grimson's. Uh, so Grimson had gotten a request from the Allied forces to aid them in killing these German werewolves. Of course, Grimson was kind of busy at the moment, so he sent Mundy and his team. Which, when Grimson ain't able to go himself, he'll send them in there. And the Varangian Guard, is the most elite fighting unit on Valhalla Island. So, if there is a really tough foe and Grimson can't handle it personally, he'll send them in. So they're like the Marine Corps and all special forces combined into one. That's your Varangian Guard unit, and that's what this book is based off of. Now, Grimson does make an appearance in this book, uh, but he ends up having to leave. But there is a couple chapters in this book where Grimson and Ira were there helping them. So I mean, it was kind of fun. And no little hint, it takes place at the Wolf's Lair. Uh, if anybody knows anything about Germany in World War II, Hitler had a place called the Wolf's Lair. And so when Grimson makes appearance in this book, that's where it's at. It's at the Wolf's Lair. Let's see here. He walked out in the open. The wolf had noticed and turned to meet his foe. The wolf snarled and growled a demonic growl at his enemy. Oops. If I can spell it, we'll be doing all right. All right, I had to get the direction of what part uh, was just struck, so that way I can keep it kind of close as possible here. What do you not like him? Oh, that's why. Okay. Running Buffalo stood there with his knife in his right hand and his tomahawk in his left. The wolf charged him, and Running Buffalo dropped to his knees, burying his tomahawk into the calf of the wolf's right leg. That's where I was kind of doing it because I was trying to remember, put myself in both positions so I can know which one that he actually struck. I tried to keep everything that I write as accurate as possible, as far as details and everything. It just to me makes the book flow better, sound better, and be more realistic. So I'm constantly changing stuff. I'm constantly going online and looking up, Germanic names and Russian names and all this other stuff. So if I got a character from another country, I've got a program I go on here and I select what country I want them to come from and what gender. And I just go through the list of them names and I pick one from there. And of course, all my locations, you can Google Earth. Every single one of my locations I talk about in my books. My sci-fi books, you can get on NASA and type in that planet name that I write in there, and you'll find it. I'm not talking about the name I give the planet, the name of the actual planet that's on NASA. I get on NASA's deal and I search up Earth-style planets, and it'll give me a list of Earth-style planets and what they're called. So I add them in my book, but then I'll turn around and tell you what they are actually called in the book. So I tried to keep everything as realistic as possible where you can go and research and look up everything that I talk about. You'll find that. Unfortunately, the stories from the Allied soldiers about the German werewolves actually transforming and becoming werewolves, I can't find on the internet no more. So I am solely basing my stuff off of memory that I've read several years ago. So part of that may not be as accurate as it could have been, but I just can't find any of that information anymore. It's kind of aggravating. The only thing you'll find on them right now is they'll tell you, oh, it was a guerrilla unit. There was a lot more in that. There used to be a lot of stories from World War II Allied soldiers talking about them witnessing this and these werewolves coming in and whooping their butt. If you guys got any questions about my characters, I'm more than glad to answer them too. When I write, I have a notebook for every single book that I write. They have their own little notebook. And in my notebooks, I keep names and notes and what they are and what their names are. I mean, everything. That way, if I need to, I can go back to my notebook and recap on what I'm doing. What are you buttheads doing? My gosh. Like all you guys are around me right now. I ain't got no more to eat, man. I done ate it. Y'all done licked the plate clean. You're good pre-dishwashers. You guys really are. That's something that you guys do. You like to clean the dishes and pre-wash them before I put them in a dishwasher. That's for sure. Yes, Shadow. Come here, Shadow. Hold on a second, guys. I got a cat that's being needy. Say hello, Shadow. You're on the interweb. Right over here. Look up here. Look up here. Yeah. Pain in the butt. I'm trying to do something and you're being awful needy right now. I'm trying to write. Yes, I am. I'm trying to write. Get down there. No, you don't need it on the computer. There you go, baby. Have such needy animals. So whenever I'm writing or doing something, they're like always right around here, and I'm constantly trying to keep from stepping on one while I move around. I don't know if I can get this to work. It's starting to get a little. I may have to turn a light on here soon. unless I can get enough light from this to work. Let's see how charged this is. All right, that's 100% charged, so I can turn these LEDs on. I still got a lot of natural light coming from the window. I do natural light as much as possible. I really like natural light. So there's a lot of times, unless it's just dark out, like right now, what you're seeing is the natural light from the window. I've got in my new office, I'm still moving stuff over. Literally right here next to my desk is a window to my left here, which faces east. So I can actually see my two drives. I can see all my stuff. So something comes up, I'm right in view of them. Let me pull this out because I'm gonna have to charge my Fitbit. Start getting in sliding grade before it gets dark. Come on, baby, get in there. All right. See if I can go to a brighter color here. That's probably about the best I'm gonna be able to do. These LEDs are nice for when I don't want a whole bunch of light in my room. They light up enough where I can see everything. My hands were hurting earlier. I have that little slide out deal down here for my keyboard. My hands were hurting earlier, so I had to move my keyboard back up top here, which kind of sucks because now if a cat comes running across, it gets on my keyboard. It's just kind of hard to be down that low trying to type. Let's see here. Running Buffalo quickly got to his feet. Oops. Cross. I got it right. Oops. Oh, I forgot what that's called. I need to message Doc real quick. I forgot what that is called. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, I got to get on here. Message Doc real quick. I can't remember that part in the calf that it separates. It's like a spring. Oops. I just gotta wait for him to read it and reply. I'm gonna probably have to skip that part until I hear back from him. If I remember right, there's a tendon on the lower part of the calf. If you cut, it springs up like a rubber band. But I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm brain farting on that. If it needs to be, I can rewrite this later, make it sound better. See how that sounds until I get the. No, it's not tandem. Is it? I can't spell, so I have to rely on Grammarly and other stuff. I want to see how this sounds.
Running Buffalo quickly got to his feet and spun around. The wolf tumbled and rolled across the ground. Running Buffalo's tomahawk hit its mark and severed. The tomahawk had cut deep and caused a tendon to be severed and effectively crippling the wolf's right leg.
Oops, I already noticed one thing I messed up on. Let's get back and fix that. Let's see how that sounds now. There we go.
Running Buffalo's tomahawk hit its mark. The tomahawk had cut deep and caused a tendon to be severed and effectively crippling the wolf's right leg.
As he approached the downed werewolf, it kicked Running Buffalo with his left leg, sending Running Buffalo flying through the air and into some bushes. The kick removed some of his paint, and there was a deep red patch on his chest. Running Buffalo could feel the pain starting to set in. Okay. He slowly got back to his feet and noticed that the wolf had healed already. It was stomping his right leg, testing the mobility of it. Ronnie Buffalo could see the anger in the beast's eyes. He ran from the area looking for a better place for a better ambush location. could make his way to the top of them, he could jump onto the wolf's back and try for a kill shot. Let's see how this flows together.
He would go to the aid of his friend, and Mundy knew there was no stopping it. Standing Wolf ran through the trees and towards the location of the howl. Meanwhile, back at the cave of the werewolves, Baldo heard the painful howl from his brother. He removed his clothes and transformed. He got to all fours and darted off to the aid of his brother. He was not far from him and would be there in moments. Running Buffalo made his way through the bushes and the wolf was looking around for him. He pulled out his tomahawk and circled around his target. He walked out into the opening. The wolf had noticed him and turned to meet his foe. The wolf snarled and growled a deep demonic growl at his enemy. Running Buffalo stood there with his knife in his right hand and his tomahawk in his left. The wolf charged him, and Running Buffalo dropped to his knees, burying his tomahawk into the calf of the wolf's right left. Running Buffalo quickly got to his feet and spun around.
There's something I didn't notice till now.
His knees, burying his tomahawk into the calf of the wolf's right left.
Sounds better.
Running Buffalo quickly got to his feet and spun around. The wolf tumbled and rolled across the ground. Running Buffalo's tomahawk hit its mark. The tomahawk had cut deep and caused a tendon to be severed and effectively crippling the wolf's right leg. As he approached the downed werewolf, it kicked Running Buffalo with its left leg, sending Running Buffalo flying through the air and into some bushes. The kick removed some of his paint, and there was a deep red patch on his chest. Running Buffalo could feel pain starting to set in. He slowly got back to his feet and noticed that the wolf had healed already. It was stomping its right leg, testing the mobility of it. Running Buffalo could see the anger in the beast's eyes. He ran from the area looking for a better ambush location. After a few seconds, he found some large rocks that had been stacked together, probably from the Ice Age. There was just enough of a gap that he could slide between them and work his way to the other side of them. If he could make his way to the top of them, he could jump on the wolf's back and try for a kill shot.
Yeah, it's flowing pretty good. I'm almost done with page 3, so I've got roughly 5 more pages in this chapter. You guys watch this later on. You got any more questions or got any questions about this stuff? Shoot me a message on here and I'll reply to you. Man, you animals are hearing a bunch of stuff outside. I keep going nuts. Cool. Achilles tendon. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. That's awesome. Running buffalo ready myself and jumped at the at the running wolf. His timing was on point, and he knocked the wolf to the ground. Metal, teeth, claws, and flesh collided and became a whirlwind of chaos. Running buffalo managed to slide his knife deep under the wolf's rib cage. Blood poured from the wound, and the wolf knocked running buffalo off him. Oops, I need to fix that right there. buffalo's knife hit true and collapsed a lung. To his right, he could hear something running towards him. He was hoping it was one of them, one of the team. There we go. Yeah, team. Seconds later, his heart sank as he could make out the shadowy image of a wolf running on all fours. See if I can how this sounds.
Running Buffalo's knife hit True and collapsed alone. To his right, he could hear something running towards them. He was hoping it was one of the team. Seconds later, his heart sank as he could make out the shadowy image of a wolf running on all fours. The new wolf lunged at Running Buffalo. He had no time to ready for the attack. He just closed his eyes and started singing his death song. As the wolf was in the air, Running Buffalo heard a war cry come from his left. He opened his eyes in time to see Standing Wolf's shoulder tackle the wolf in midair, sending it twirling away from him. Running Buffalo smiled as Standing Wolf reached his hand out to help him up. Starting a fight without me again. How many times do I have to come to your aid? Chuckled.
That was a mistake.
How many times do I have to come to your aid? Chuckled Standing Wolf. I had it under control. You were just late to the party like always, Running Buffalo said with a smile. Standing Wolf looked at the downed werewolf and the one that he had just knocked away from killing Running Buffalo. Yeah, I can see that.
Yep, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut off this live. Like I said before, if any of you guys have any questions when you watch this later on, just message me and I'll answer any questions you have. I kind of hope you enjoy watching me write my book and do some editing. And I love y'all's comments because I write these for you guys. So until next time, you guys have a blessed and safe day. And I'll see you later.